What if I told you the most dangerous threat to your heart isn't a dramatic, chest-clutching moment, but a silent, creeping sabotage happening inside your body, right now? Imagine your arteries, the vital highways for your blood, slowly being narrowed. Not by some evil villain, but by choices you make every single day, often thinking they're harmless, or even healthy. It starts with a little fatigue you blame on a long day. Then maybe some shortness of breath you dismiss as being out of shape. You don't feel the plaque hardening or the pressure building. There's no alarm bell, no warning siren. It's a quiet, methodical process. This isn't a scare tactic. It's a physiological reality for millions. The stakes are profoundly high. Misunderstanding this silent process doesn't just cost you energy or vitality. It can cost you decades of your life. What you believe is a healthy routine could be a Trojan horse, smuggling destructive agents past your body's defenses. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to dismantle this threat. We're going to expose the top 10 saboteurs of your heart health, not just the obvious ones, but the sneaky ones hiding in plain sight. And if you stay with me, I promise you'll leave not with fear, but with a powerful, clear plan to reclaim control of your cardiovascular destiny, starting today. The first step is knowing your enemy. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Dr. Goodwell, and it's my mission to cut through the noise and give you clear, actionable health advice that can genuinely change your life. In our last segment, we touched on a chilling idea, that your heart's greatest enemy might be the silent, everyday choices you don't even think twice about. It's a frightening thought, but knowledge is power, and that's why we're here. We're not going to just list problems. We're going to build a fortress around your heart. This video is structured as a complete journey. First, we will identify the top 10 culprits, 5 foods and 5 habits, that are actively working against your cardiovascular system. Think of this as our most wanted list. For each one, I'll explain the how and the why in a way that actually makes sense, without the confusing medical jargon. But we won't stop there. Once we've unmasked the villains, we will pivot to the heroes. We will build your arsenal of heart-protective foods and simple, effective exercises that don't require you to become a marathon runner overnight. This isn't about a restrictive, miserable life. It's about making smart swaps and intentional choices that add years to your life and life to your years. So let's begin our investigation. Who are the first saboteurs on our list? They're likely in your kitchen right now. Let's begin our countdown with saboteur number 10, sugary drinks. This includes sodas, sweetened teas, fruit juices, and energy drinks. Think of sugar, particularly the high fructose corn syrup in these beverages, as metabolic sand. When you drink it, you're essentially pouring fine grit sand into your body's engine. It causes a massive spike in your blood sugar and insulin, and your liver works frantically to process it. Over time, this frantic process leads to fat accumulation in the liver, increased bad LDL cholesterol, and higher triglycerides. It also directly contributes to inflammation, which is like a slow, simmering fire on the inner lining of your arteries, making them stiff and prone to damage. Now, right alongside this is saboteur number 9, refined carbohydrates. I'm talking about white bread, white rice, pastries, and many breakfast cereals. People often think fat-free means heart-healthy, but these foods are stripped of their fiber and nutrients. They behave almost identically to pure sugar once they hit your bloodstream. They provide a quick burst of energy, followed by a crash, leaving you hungry and craving more. This cycle promotes weight gain, particularly dangerous visceral fat around your organs, and fuels the same inflammatory processes as sugary drinks. Does that afternoon slump and craving for something sweet sound familiar? That's the cycle in action. These two culprits work as a team, setting the stage for more serious cardiovascular damage down the line. Next on our most wanted list is a duo that often works in tandem. At number 8, we have processed meats. This means bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and deli meats like salami and bologna. The problem isn't just the fat content, it's the processing itself. To preserve these meats, manufacturers load them with sodium and chemical preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. These compounds can be converted in your body into substances that increase oxidative stress and inflammation, directly damaging the delicate endothelial lining of your blood vessels. This damage is a precursor to atherosclerosis, the hardening and narrowing of the arteries. Now, let's talk about their partner in crime, saboteur number 7, excessive salt. The issue here is deception. You might think, I don't add much salt to my food, but over 70% of the sodium we consume is hidden in processed and restaurant foods. Canned soups, frozen dinners, sauces, and even bread are loaded with it. Here's the mechanism. Your body is a finely tuned fluid balancing machine. When you overload it with sodium, it holds on to extra water to dilute the salt. This increases the volume of blood in your bloodstream, which in turn increases your blood pressure. Think of it like turning up the water pressure in an old garden hose. Over time, that constant high pressure weakens and damages the hose, or in this case, your arteries, heart, and kidneys. We now arrive at a truly insidious villain, one that deserves its own special place in our hall of shame. Saboteur number 6 is trans fats. If sugar is sand in the engine, trans fat is superglue. It is an artificial fat created by a process called hydrogenation, which turns liquid vegetable oils into solid fats to increase shelf life. For decades, it was the go-to ingredient for margarines, fried foods, baked goods, and packaged snacks, because it was cheap and stable. The cost to your health, however, is immense. Trans fats are a cardiovascular nightmare for 2 reasons. First, they dramatically raise your LDL, the bad cholesterol that deposits in your artery walls. Second, and this is what makes them uniquely dangerous, they simultaneously lower your HDL, the good cholesterol, whose job is to carry bad cholesterol away from the arteries and back to the liver. It's a devastating 1-2 punch that no other fat delivers so efficiently. It promotes inflammation, contributes to insulin resistance, and directly harms the cells lining your blood vessels. Thankfully, many countries have banned or restricted their use, but you still must be vigilant. Always check the label. If you see the words partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredients list, put it back on the shelf. That product contains the cardiovascular equivalent of poison. There is no safe level of artificial trans fat consumption. We've covered the 5 food-based saboteurs. Now we pivot to the 5 habits that can be just as, if not more, destructive. Kicking off this list at number 5 is a silent killer of a different kind: chronic stress. Everyone experiences stress. A deadline at work, a family argument, that's acute stress. Your body is well equipped to handle it with a fight-or-flight response, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart beats faster, and your blood pressure rises, preparing you for action. The problem is when this state never turns off. In our modern world, the threats are constant emails, traffic, financial worries, and endless news cycles. Your body remains in a perpetual state of high alert. Imagine constantly revving your car's engine at a red light. You're not going anywhere, but you're causing immense wear and tear. Chronically elevated cortisol leads to increased blood pressure, higher blood sugar, and a buildup of dangerous abdominal fat. It also encourages unhealthy coping mechanisms, like reaching for those sugary snacks or processed foods we just talked about. Stress isn't just a feeling. It's a physiological state that grinds down your cardiovascular system day after day. Have you ever felt that tightness in your chest from anxiety? That's your heart literally feeling the pressure. Managing your reaction to stress is not a luxury. It's a critical component of heart health. Following closely behind stress is a habit many people sacrifice without a second thought. Our 4th saboteur is poor sleep. We often treat sleep as a negotiable part of our schedule, something to be cut back when we're busy. This is a profound mistake. Sleep is not a passive state of rest. It is an active period of vital restoration for your entire body, especially your heart and circulatory system. During deep sleep, your heart rate and blood pressure naturally dip, giving your cardiovascular system a much-needed break. When you consistently get less than 7 hours of quality sleep, your body is denied this crucial downtime. It remains in a state of heightened alertness, similar to chronic stress. This leads to higher average blood pressure throughout the day and night. Furthermore, sleep deprivation disrupts the hormones that regulate appetite, making you crave high-calorie, high-carbohydrate foods. It also triggers the release of inflammatory markers into your bloodstream, contributing to that same slow-burning fire inside your arteries. Conditions like sleep apnea, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts, are particularly dangerous, causing dramatic spikes in blood pressure throughout the night. I had a patient whose stubborn high blood pressure finally normalized not with more medication, but with a CPAP machine. Never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. It is as important as diet and exercise. Now for a habit that has become the default for modern life. Saboteur number 3 is a sedentary lifestyle. You've probably heard the phrase, sitting is the new smoking. And while it sounds like an exaggeration, there's a terrifying amount of truth to it. Our bodies were designed for movement. When you sit for prolonged periods, your entire metabolic system slows down. Your circulation becomes sluggish, your large leg muscles, which are crucial for blood sugar regulation, go dormant, and your body's ability to break down fats plummets. One study showed that after just a few hours of continuous sitting, the activity of lipoprotein lipase, an enzyme that helps break down fat in the blood, drops by up to 90%. This means fats are more likely to be stored rather than used for energy, leading to weight gain, higher triglycerides, and lower levels of good HDL cholesterol. The common misconception is that you can offset 8 hours of sitting with a 30-minute gym session. While exercise is fantastic, it doesn't completely erase the damage of prolonged inactivity. Think of it this way. Even if you eat a healthy dinner, you can't undo the harm of smoking a pack of cigarettes during the day. The key is to break up long periods of sitting. Stand up, stretch, walk around for a few minutes every hour. Those small movements keep your metabolic engine from seizing up. We're now at the top of our list, facing the 2 most notorious and destructive saboteurs of heart health. At number 2, we have excessive alcohol consumption. There's a persistent myth, often called the French paradox, that a little red wine is good for the heart. While some studies suggest a modest benefit from very light consumption, the line is incredibly thin, and for many, the risks far outweigh any potential rewards. Here's what excessive alcohol does. First, it's a source of empty calories contributing to weight gain and obesity. Second, it can raise your triglyceride levels, a type of fat in your blood that increases heart disease risk. Third, heavy drinking can lead to high blood pressure and, over time, a condition called alcoholic cardiomyopathy, where the alcohol directly weakens and thins the heart muscle, making it unable to pump blood efficiently. This can lead to heart failure. And at the absolute top of our list, the undisputed heavyweight champion of cardiovascular destruction, saboteur number 1, smoking. There is no ambiguity here. Smoking is catastrophic for your heart. The chemicals in tobacco smoke damage the structure and function of your blood vessels, scarring and stiffening their delicate lining. It promotes the formation of plaque, makes your blood stickier and more prone to clotting, and lowers your good HDL cholesterol. It is the single most preventable cause of heart disease. So we've just laid out our top 10 most wanted list. Sugary drinks, refined carbs, processed meats, excess salt, trans fats, chronic stress, poor sleep, a sedentary life, excessive alcohol, and smoking. It's an intimidating list, isn't it? It can feel overwhelming, like you're surrounded by threats in your kitchen and in your own daily routine. You might be thinking, "Great, Dr. Goodwell, now I'm afraid to eat, sleep, or sit down. What am I supposed to do? Live in a bubble?" This feeling is completely normal. It's the point where most people either throw their hands up in despair or try to adopt a punishing, unsustainable regimen of perfection, which inevitably fails. But what if I told you the problem isn't the list itself? The problem isn't that you occasionally eat a piece of bacon or have a stressful day. The real underlying issue is something deeper, something we haven't named yet. The true saboteur isn't any single item on this list. It's the mindset that allows these things to take over. Before we talk about the hero foods and exercises that can save the day, we need to unmask this hidden enemy. Understanding this one core concept is the difference between temporary changes and lifelong heart health. What is this powerful hidden force? We'll reveal it in the next segment. The true number 1 enemy of your heart is not sugar. It's not salt. It's not even smoking. The most dangerous saboteur of your health is living on autopilot. It's the state of mind where you drift through your day, making unconscious choices driven by habit, convenience, and marketing, rather than conscious intention. Think about it. You grab the sugary cereal because it's what you've always eaten. You order the takeout because you're too tired to think about cooking. You scroll on your phone for an hour before bed instead of sleeping because it's a habit. You sit at your desk all day without moving because you're lost in your work. None of these are villainous, premeditated decisions. They are the result of autopilot. This is the hidden core message of our entire discussion today. Your heart health isn't about achieving a perfect score by avoiding every single bad thing. It is about switching off the autopilot and taking the controls. It is about moving from a passive existence to one of active, conscious choice. The goal isn't restriction, it's intention. You don't have to be a saint. You just have to be present. The power to build a strong heart doesn't come from a list of don'ts, but from a mindset of do's. It's about consciously choosing to add the good, which naturally crowds out the bad. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. So now that we've unmasked the true enemy, autopilot, let's arm ourselves with the heroes. Let's build your positive action plan, starting with the foods that actively protect and heal your heart. Forget complex diets. I want you to remember a simple framework. The Mediterranean plate. This isn't a restrictive diet. It's a style of eating rich in powerful heart-protective compounds. First up, our primary hero, healthy fats. I'm talking about extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. These are packed with monounsaturated fats that lower bad LDL cholesterol and are rich in antioxidants that fight inflammation. Drizzle olive oil on your salad, have a handful of almonds as a snack. Next, the cavalry, omega-3 fatty acids. Found in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, these are the ultimate inflammation fighters. They help lower blood pressure, reduce triglycerides, and make your blood less likely to form clots. Aim for 2 servings a week. Then we have the foot soldiers, fiber-rich foods. This includes everything from leafy greens like spinach and kale to legumes like beans and lentils, and whole grains like oats and quinoa. Fiber helps lower cholesterol, control blood sugar, and feeds the good bacteria in your gut, which we now know plays a huge role in cardiovascular health. Finally, the elite special forces, antioxidant-rich fruits, especially berries like blueberries and strawberries, are packed with compounds that protect your blood vessels from oxidative damage. We've filled your plate with heart-healing foods. Now let's get your body moving in a way that's smart, sustainable, and incredibly effective. The goal here is not to become a professional athlete, it's to build a resilient cardiovascular system. We need a 2-pronged attack, cardiovascular conditioning and strength training. For cardio, I want you to focus on something called Zone 2 exercise. This is steady-state activity where your heart rate is elevated, but you can still comfortably hold a conversation. Think of a brisk walk, a light jog, cycling, or swimming. This is the sweet spot for building your heart's efficiency. It trains your heart to pump more blood with each beat and improves your body's ability to use oxygen. The magic number is about 150 minutes per week. That's just 30 minutes, 5 days a week. You don't have to do it all at once. Even 3 10-minute walks a day make a huge difference. The second prong, which is often neglected for heart health, is resistance training. Building or maintaining muscle is crucial. Muscle is your metabolic powerhouse. It burns calories and is a primary consumer of blood sugar. You don't need a gym membership. 2 sessions a week of bodyweight exercises like squats, push-ups, lunges, and planks is a fantastic start. This combination makes your heart stronger and your entire metabolism more efficient. Let's bring it all together. We started this journey by acknowledging a scary truth, that heart disease often builds silently, fueled by everyday choices. We identified the top 10 saboteurs, from the obvious culprits like smoking, to the sneaky ones like chronic stress and sitting too much. We unmasked the true enemy behind them all, living on autopilot. Then, we shifted from fear to empowerment. We built your arsenal of hero foods, centered on the simple, delicious principles of the Mediterranean plate. Embrace healthy fats from olive oil and nuts, seek out omega-3s from fish, load up on fiber from plants, and enjoy antioxidant-rich fruits. We also created a sustainable exercise plan that doesn't require you to live in the gym. The cornerstone is 150 minutes of Zone 2 cardio per week, like a brisk walk where you can still chat, complemented by 2 sessions of simple strength training. The ultimate takeaway is this. Heart health is not about perfection, it's about direction. It's not about the one time you eat a burger. It's about the 20 times you consciously chose a salad with olive oil. It's the sum of your small, intentional decisions. You don't need a complete overhaul overnight, you just need to take one step. Pick one thing from our hero list and start today. That is how you turn the tide against the silent saboteurs. You now hold the blueprint. You know the villains, you know the heroes, and most importantly, you know the real battle is against autopilot. You have the power to consciously steer your health in the right direction. My challenge to you is simple. Don't just let this be 30 minutes of interesting information. Make it the first 30 minutes of a new chapter for your heart. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So, what will your first step be? Will it be swapping soda for water? Will it be taking a 10-minute walk during your lunch break? Will it be adding a handful of nuts to your afternoon snack? I want you to declare it. Right now, go down to the comments and tell me the one small positive change you are committing to this week. Writing it down makes it real. Sharing it creates accountability and inspires others in this community to do the same. This is how we create a movement of conscious, healthy choices together. If you found this guide valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the Dr. Goodwell channel for more clear, no-nonsense health advice. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video on how to master your metabolism. Thank you for investing this time in your health. Now go take that first step.